It is 5:30 p.m. Today is February the 8th, 2024, and this is the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority, the work session. A couple of things before I begin. One, I need to apologize for not making the January meetings. Fortunately, I was able to view the meeting on YouTube, so I'm somewhat familiar with what went on. So as we proceed, and if I say anything tonight referring back to last month's meeting, please correct me, Commissioner. You were at the helm. So in the event that I did, and again, my apology, but because I had some emergencies I had to tend to, but I do try to actually watch the meeting more than once. There's a couple of things on here too I'd like to do. With us tonight, joining us tonight is City Manager Steve Ruger, and so obviously you're going to hear from him. But because there's something that might dovetail as well, I would like to move into position number 2, item number 5, the Plum Street Lofts topic. That way, City Manager Steve Ruger has a pretty trying schedule on a day-to-day basis, so I would like to be able to go ahead and have his presentation and maybe participate in that as well. And then, you know, if he needs to go, that can be just in order to respect the heavy schedule that he has to maintain on a daily basis. So if that would work for you, Steve.
Yep, I do have a dinner meeting after this too,
okay.
So that's great. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate that.
So you, Steve, you are first on the agenda, so I'll let you take it where you want to go, and then we can pick up from there.
Yeah, no, I won't be long, but really the first thing I want to say is I'm just so enthusiastic and so thrilled about the momentum I'm seeing with you all. I think you all are starting to have some conversations about how we can possibly think outside the box, how you can get more involved, how you can support our community. And that is precisely what we need from you all right now. So thank you for that. Thank you for your hard work. This is one of those organizations that's kind of a behind the scenes thing. Most people don't know that we have an urban renewal authority. And even if they do, we still don't all understand what it means. How do we expect the public to? but I think we have such an opportunity. Trinidad was so bold and so brave to create you all. We'll create this board. And let's maximize what you guys can do to assist and partner better. I think we really need to start having probably some joint work sessions from time to time, maybe once, twice a year with the council, certainly with the county commission as well, to whatever interest you all would have in being part of the conversation. But let's keep the dialogue open, transparent, and come together as a community and do amazing things. So speaking of amazing things, I did want to give you guys some updates on some of the things we're working on, that some are visible and you've seen them and some are not so visible. But starting with this past weekend, our Winterfest and our In Real Lights display. So proud of our community. It was such a great event. And of course, it didn't go off without a hitch in the background. But the positive thing is that I think for most people's perspective who attended the event, there was a general sense of, you know, thank you city, thank you community for bringing this event to us. And obviously there's been a lot of asks for events, certainly since I got here and before that time. And this is the year that I want to start delivering on those requests. So with that, the city's not planning it, but we're helping organize a 420 event at our golf course. And so that'll happen on 420. But it's super exciting. We have one of our marijuana businesses is actually creating a separate LLC that'll be the umbrella organization to run the event. The event will not be something where marijuana is sold, or a product won't be sold. We're not going to advertise it as a consumption event. However, let's be real, people are going to want to consume at a 420 event. So we'll make safety protocols and that type of thing for people who do choose, and it'll be impossible for us to enforce. So we'll make sure that we're being transparent and open. And in fact, we're already in dialogues with MED, the Marijuana Enforcement Division at the state, and we're being forthright on our planning, and we want this to be successful and something we can bring back year to year. This is in part to support our marijuana industry. I know there's been a lot of concerns about the city's actions recently in giving some breaks on license fees and then deferring deadlines for reporting sales tax for the marijuana industry to the city. But I want to highlight just a couple of things from their perspective. So first of all, I mean, the millions of dollars that have flown into our community and our region because of the industry is huge. From you all's standpoint, one of the most brilliant things that I think has happened as a result of the influx of the industry is, yes, some of them are closing and we're reaching kind of equilibrium with New Mexico legalizing. With my perception is that the novelty is wearing off, and I'm not sure the rush to go home and smoke a joint is to the fore on everyone's mind anymore. But what it's left us with is buildings that otherwise would never have been, not never, but it would have taken decades perhaps to have them rehabilitated. So now we have all these storefronts downtown that are up to code, modernized, have great infrastructure, and they're just plug and play ready for a new business to come into town as we grow and develop. So that's a huge win for our community. Segueing on from there, I'm bringing a program this warm season, I'll call it, called Phone Free Fridays. And the idea is every Friday night, we're gonna ask our residents to voluntarily, if they can, and I get some people work, some people have other things going on, but if you have nothing going on Friday night, put your phone down, get off social media, quit telling the city how bad we are, and go outside and actually enjoy the city and see how great we are. And so we want to meet that program halfway. We already have our first Friday Art Walk series, which is a huge success and really a nod to our artists. But I think we can really make it a robust thing with movies in the park, cornhole in the park, flag football. The sky's the limit on what we can provide as opportunities. But as a newcomer to the town, I live off of Colorado and Willow, and my neighbor is Broadway actress Allison England, so she's a good friend of mine, and it's not uncommon for us to sit on one of each other's porches in the summer and have dinner or just chat and hang out. And I was just stricken by, wow, this is like one of the most beautiful days anywhere, and there's no one out enjoying this beautiful weather. So I really want to encourage our community to understand what we have to offer. Santa Fe Trail Days, been in conversations with Pat. Traditionally, the city was hosting that event, then at some point it segued over to the chamber. Pat has said that the chamber wants to get out of the events business for now, which, thank you, I think that's probably...
We think you're a better steward.
Absolutely, but we recognize that as something we don't want to see go away. Nobody does. It's a long-standing tradition. It used to be such a great event, so we're trying to plan it and bring it back to hopefully some semblance of its full glory and make that a really big deal for our community and attracting people to come here. So then we'll have our 4th of July fireworks display, which I'm super excited for. And with our new laser projectors, there's an opportunity if for some reason Chief Bacharach says that it's too dry to launch fireworks, which I don't think is gonna happen this year. We're getting some moisture, but hypothetically if that did, we could do a robust fireworks display just using laser projectors. That would still be something really amazing in a way for us to celebrate our independence on the 4th of July.
To throw onto that caveat, unfortunately, that would go before the Board of County Commissioners in the fire ban.
Absolutely, you guys
neck of the woods, and we hope it doesn't either with all the moisture we're getting now.
I think we'll be in good shape, but you're right, there's always that potential, and you're absolutely right.
Plan B sounds good though.
So just so you know, we have as a board changed that policy.
Okay.
If there is an extra stage, higher stage level enacted,
Yeah.
the local fire chiefs of that district can override it.
Okay.
So there is a caveat.
All right, great,
Just so you
okay,
know.
good. Well, and we want to be good partners with you all, so we'll all talk and figure out what's best for our community. So excited, I have a proposal on my desk that I don't mind telling you guys about, but if it comes to fruition, I think it would be a terrific thing for our community. The organizers of the Frozen Dead Guy Festival, which used to be up in Netherlands and is now in Estes Park, they want to bring a jam band festival to Trinidad this summer in August. And so it'd be Colorado jam bands, and a whole music festival that I think would be just absolutely terrific. One thing that I can mention with that, we are just a few weeks out from completing our renovations to Central Park and the grandstands, and particularly the baseball area. Full ADA accessibility, facelift, new dugouts, new restrooms, washer and dryer room, updated concession stand. And then our public works director, Bob Just, had a brilliant idea to put some terraces along the first baseline. So we'll have really nice areas for families to sit out there on blankets and kids can run around. It's going to be fun, and I love that facility, and I'm sure you all do too. I can't think of another baseball park ever that I've been to that has this amazing backdrop of Fisher's Peak. But I also think that's an opportunity for us to perhaps, maybe that'd be a good place to have the Jam Band Festival and put it out there and really utilize that park to its maximum potential. I think just even calling it Central Park says, okay, this is our premier park, and we need to make it be that. And so we're working hard on that. Segueing into the fall, we've got the Rad Fest coming back. We think it's extremely successful. I know, again, no good deed. There's always some concerns, and we understand the concerns of some of our rural residents who are concerned about the impact. But I still think it's important that we provide that service and try to work through together as a team on how we can address those issues. But with that, we are issuing an RFP in the next couple of weeks. So the Osla property, we haven't come up with a name for it, but the 212 acres that the city purchased and did a land swap for up Highway 12, we're going to bring a professional company that designs and builds mountain bike trails. And it really, the pricing that we're getting is ridiculously low for something like that. In my opinion, it's about $50,000 for the design and the construction.
Wow.
So for that minimal investment, we can really provide an awesome outdoor recreation amenity for mountain bikers, but really hikers, anyone. The sky's the limit. We've had conversations with the Army Corps on how we can partner, since we share a border with them, and make it an even more robust recreation facility.
Where is it?
So it's, if you go up Highway 12, I don't know the mile marker, but you'll get to it's past the state park a little bit, but it's just kind of right adjacent to it. And there's kind of this you go up a little bit and around. There's an elbow. It's kind of right in that area. So Louis Osla owned it for many years, but the city did a land swap and secured that property. Bold move. I can't think of any other community that would do that, buy land outside of the municipal boundaries to provide a premier recreational amenity for visitors in our community. It's really awesome. And then segueing into the fall, we have the Rad Fest, and then we'll have, I think we've started the Homegrown Music Festival this year, and I think that's a thing that we really need to put some more legs to next year in the winter season, so we have live music going on. Obviously holiday parades, Christmas lighting, all of that stuff. So it's a jam-packed year compared to previous years here in Trinidad, I would say. But these are all events that if we do them right, I'd love to see them be recurring. And people can just know that the goal would be every month throughout the entire year, there's some reason to come to Trinidad, there's some big event to come to, and we come together as a community. But I will say, I appreciate the conversation about tourists, and that's super important. But we also need to focus on our residents here too. So everything we're planning, I think, top of mind needs to be the 8,300 people that live here and what we're doing for them. Because they're really the owners of this community. They're the people that we really should be serving. And my goal is to build just the most amazing community possible for Trinidad. And I think that's the best thing we can do to support tourism. When people come to a well-functioning town where there's lots of things to do, pops of art, that type of thing, it's just a really, really, really cool opportunity. So I wanted to give you kind of those highlights. We're in conversations with Circle K, with Loves. They'll be developing. We're proposing an annexation up near Exit 18 where Loves will develop, so that can be part of our municipality. We'll already be providing all the services for them, except for electricity, but most of the services for them. And so we feel that might be a win-win. And then
Correction, Maverick.
Yeah, where is Loves going? Because Loves is coming as well.
They haven't started that process yet. But Exit 18's Maverick.
That's right. Okay, thank you for correcting that. It's too many gas stations.
I know.
But I actually love Maverick. They have the best ice. It's kind of it's those little pellets that are like super crunchy.
And the reason I know is that we just had their hearing for their SUP.
That's right.
Which was
Okay,
approved
you're
on
absolutely
Tuesday.
right. Sorry, I misspoke. You're right. It's Maverick. Thank you. But then we also have several. We're still hoping Ecotech, the biofuel company, is going to finalize their gap funding and develop here. Our new Sun Mountain Tofu facility is rocking and rolling. They got through all their inspections finally, and they're going to start manufacturing here very quickly. It's something that I would like to see us talk to the Denver Business Journal and put an article about how look, you don't have to be stuck in Denver. You don't have to pay $500,000.
Small scale manufacturing come.
Exactly,
Right.
and the way I look at it, Pat, is if we can get a number of those to come develop in our industrial park, there's a tremendous opportunity to share shipping. If you're creating product for Denver or even Albuquerque or regionally, you can piggyback on the shipping costs, and so there's a lot of cool opportunities. Trinidad's very uniquely suited. And then the last project I wanted to highlight for you all that hopefully you've heard about, but is VUBA, so our pod car proposal. So we're working with a company that wants to bring a state-of-the-art transit system to our town. Obviously, there's a lot of discussions that need to happen. You all need to be involved in that. But in essence, we would be a demonstration site for what, in my opinion, transit should be, period. So the way these pod cars work, it's elevated tracks. The footprint on the ground is about the size of a street lamp, and it looks very Jetsons-y. Each car holds about 8 passengers, and it's point to point. So if you are going from the college and you want to get to the hospital, you would get in the car, it would tell you which car to get into. You get into it, and it takes you directly there, bypasses any stop along the way. The model that they're proposing almost will get you anywhere in town within 5 minutes. And so I think that also is a good project for aging in place, which is something that we really need to be mindful. We do have a significant number of seniors in our community, and we're all in that same boat where we're aging. We'll be there someday. Who wants to leave their home? If we can allow people to be in their houses, I think that is a huge thing for our community. Obviously, our affordable housing projects are coming online. We're working through those. The governor is trying to do some sweeping legislation to mandate accessory dwelling units and other high-density development, especially in transit corridors, to solve what he views as the statewide housing issue. And I just have to smile and say, wow, the city alone of Trinidad has created over 120 affordable units just with our Housing Now program. Then we also have Timberview apartments. We have the Mark, which are affordable. The Housing Authority, under their new leadership, they're looking for some HUD funding to expand their operations and provide more units. So we're really rocking it on the affordable housing side. So many things to be proud of in our community, despite what the naysayers say. But VUBA, the last thing I'll say about them is we have a tremendous opportunity to do this because there's some federal dollars, big dollars. I think it's in the billions, I want to say. Don't quote me on that, but it's a lot of money. And it's called Reconnecting Communities, and it's specific for communities who have been impacted because they've been bisected by an interstate, which obviously we are that. It was originally created out of legislation that was meant for urban areas where segregation had taken place because of the way the highway system was developed, and they wanted to reconnect communities so that there's more interaction between different cultures and different populations. But that's not to say that we're not perfectly eligible, and I would make the argument we cut off our college from downtown. We have a very diverse college here, so we really do need to provide that opportunity. These college students come, and I don't know what's wrong with kids, why they don't want to drive. That's a new thing to me. At 14, I was like,
Give me a car.
yeah. Well, I won't tell you what I was doing. I was borrowing a car. But anyway, that was such a big deal, but that's changing. And so that's why I think it's getting on the forefront of contemporary transit and then planning things where we can have people be able to connect in our community is a huge deal. And then let's be honest, we have residents in our community that can't afford an automobile. We have college students who are just starting out, they can't afford a car. So if we can get them around town, I just think that's huge for our community. Every time I go to Mutiny Coffee, I think, why is this not jam-packed full of college students studying for the midterms? This is exactly what this place should be. And I can't make college students go there, but I can make sure that we plan facilities that'll make it easier for them to get there.
Let you know, Steve, I introduced the VUBA idea at my Front Range Passenger Rail retreat in December, and it was well taken. The connectivity that would be able to occur would work hand in hand with transportation from our inner city train to your inner community
Absolutely.
thing. So it was well received, and they look forward to seeing that come to fruition at our end, because then they can assist us in getting that train south of Pueblo sooner than later if we can show that connectivity. Not to mention the city of Trinidad has the perfect opportunity to get that funding, not because the highway intersects splits the city, your rail
Yeah.
and also your river.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
there's multiple sources of revenue I think they can get for the city to assist in something like that.
It's really fascinating, and I could go on and on about it, but what I will tell you is I don't want anyone to underestimate, this is not pie in the sky. This is a really big deal. And when you look at it, it's easy to roll your eyes and say, oh, that's just Jetsons. But I got invited to go to San Jose in early December to the International Todd Car Summit. And they asked me to come to talk to the community that develops this technology about what the impacts of a system like this could have on a local community like ours. And so I thought, well, first of all, what an awesome opportunity to go showcase Trinidad to an international audience. Some people were surprised by the color of my skin because they thought I was from Trinidad and Tobago, but now they know there's a Trinidad, Colorado. But I was on a panel with the former director of transportation for Las Vegas, Nevada, with the director of transportation for the Jacksonville transit system, and then one of the high-ups transportation planners for the Atlanta airport. So this is a legit thing. This is not something.
Where would the rails be, Steve?
So they've come up with a map. So they'd be all over town, but they'd have minimal impact at ground level. You just see these cool things going on. I can show you, but I'll save that. I'll send some information out to you so you can see their website. If you just Google VUBA, go quickly. So VUBA is a African word and it means go quickly. So that's why it's named that. But they have a video that demonstrates the technology and it really talks about how we can put it into use. And once you see it and see how it operates, you'll be really impressed with, and think about Trinidad. It's a slam dunk for us.
Let's make it happen.
And then I really want us to think outside the box on this. So historic preservation, that's a consideration, but how cool would it be if we could wrap the individual cars to match Trinidad's history and celebrate it? And they said, absolutely, we can do that. We've been talking with our homeless coalition about where can we put a designated area for homeless members to reside, where we can provide services such as water and electric hookups for their cell phones. There's not really a good place in town. So I asked the organizers of VUBA, hey, could we consider like an extension that would go directly to a homeless community and would be exclusive for their use to get into town to access services that they need? And he said, absolutely, let's do it. And I mentioned that at the Podcart Summit, and they were like, the woman from Atlanta is like, wow, that'd be perfect for our city. They have a real homeless problem there, like most big cities do. And so really thinking outside the box. But plus, from a tourist standpoint, I've been thinking the same thing. Let's get with people in Chicago. Take the train to Trinidad. You don't have to even worry about a car. You can get anywhere you need to be by just accessing the system. But it's really important that we have a leg to Simpson's Rest, Fisher's Peak, the reservoir, all of those things. So again, I could go on and on.
I went a step further with that too.
Yeah?
Our local council of government board meeting recently on the group, but since we are in the transportation business now with our COG, possibly working with the city as the operator of that entity instead of the city having to be the operator of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, VUBA's proposal, now we'll have to bid it out. They're not the only ones that do this, but we are partnering with them. We've applied for a grant for a feasibility study for the system. And I think we find out late this month if we get that money. I expect us to, because this is exactly what that money is looking for. How can we be innovative? How can we solve problems in a real world and not just plan? Let's actually put pedal to the metal and do something. But what may happen is the company themselves would operate it themselves and offer us guarantees. Like, one of the things I want to be concerned about and mindful of is if it's a total failure, there needs to be a contract provision that says, okay, you guys need to, at your expense, take out all the infrastructure. So we're going to do our diligence. We're going to make sure it's awesome. But I'm so excited. And I'm sure some of you saw the article in the Colorado Sun, and it was reprinted in today's Chronicle. I'm not upset with it. In fact, there were a lot of really, really good things. What was missing, though, is the things I just talked to you guys about. So it contemplates whether or not Trinidad's a dying community. I don't see how anyone can pick that. No. So my thought is, like, who cares? Quite frankly, who cares? Let's prove them wrong. Like, game on is what I look at it. Let's build the best community in Colorado. My preferred slogan, although we'll invite the community to talk about it, but I'd love for our city branding to be Trinidad first in Colorado. we're first stop, have the first school district. So many pioneering things happened here, and we need to start celebrating that. Last thing I'm going to say, and then I'll shut up, because I can talk forever. I'm so excited about all the good things we're doing. But I think one of the things we miss the mark on as a city is something super simple. We are building these amazing projects. We're doing all this great things. First Street, beautiful. It's amazing. It's really, really good. We are not doing ribbon cuttings. We're not celebrating our wins, and we need to start doing that. So even for something like the Hughes Lumber Building, when it comes back to light, that's a public-private partnership that came to fruition. We should be out there with giant shears, inviting the press.
Chamber's done about 8 of them in the last 6 months.
And the
more than
chamber,
ever before.
and that's the thing. And the chamber does a great job for private businesses. And we need to support that as well. But for our public projects, there's no reason we shouldn't celebrate those wins as well.
Love it.
So yeah, happy to answer any questions you guys have. We have some great things on the agenda tonight. And again, thank you for all you do. It doesn't go unnoticed, I promise. And I can't wait to see what's next for you all.
No questions. That was just great information, great update. Love. I will say this comment more than a question. Love where the county is in partnering with some of this stuff.
Absolutely.
It's so good to see the reality of the county and the city working together, because the fallacy out there sometimes is that they don't work together at all.
Yeah.
And that's just not true.
It's not.
And I think these things help prove that. Thank you, both.
All
Hey
right.
Steve, did the city sponsor the Christmas lights bus tour?
Yes, that is all. That's
Well,
entirely the city.
Kudos to the city.
Yeah.
I took this one
Yeah.
and a friend there, and it was a really great event.
Yeah.
And I think it was supposed to be 2 bus loads, and there was like 10.
Yeah.
We had to wait. We had to wait, and they just kept feeding the kids hot chocolate and popcorn.
It's a
inside
good
the
problem to
bus.
have. Yeah.
But that was a really nice event, so you pat yourself on the back for that, because that was.
Thank you. And just to fill in a couple of things, we also had a Main Street, our Main Street board hosted a window decoration contest for downtown, and we were able to award prizes for the best decorated windows. If you probably noticed more robust Christmas lights, but every year as we can and as budget permits, we're adding more and more. This is a beautiful town, and why not have it all lit up in beautiful Christmas stuff? I mean, this could be a Lifetime movie and a little snow globe thing, and it's just, we don't have the uppity white women that they have on those movies. No, we didn't.
Might have a feel.
All right, well, thank you guys. Any other questions for me? Anything else I can answer?
I just wanted to say thank you for coming tonight and, filling us all in.
Yeah.
And the articles that you referred to, I have not seen them, so
Yeah.
I just appreciate Trinidad and what you're doing for it. So
Absolutely.
good job, great job that you're doing. So.
And I did talk with Chairman Griego. When I worked in Aurora, I was city clerk, but I was also clerk to their urban renewal authority, which was actually their city council. So I actually like this structure way better. Their approach is just very rubber stamp, but of course they had a full team of staff members working on these things and bringing them forward. We don't have that per se, but I'm really good friends with the executive director of their urban renewal authority, Andrea Almanac. She is a trained city planner from Ohio, and she is just amazing. She knows the ins and outs of urban renewal. So I'm going to reach out to her and see if she'd be willing to come down, and we could do a work session with her, and she could help answer some of our questions and give us some perspective and some thoughts. And if you all are open to that, I think that would just be a terrific thing to get somebody to come in. And I bet she'd do it for free if I pay for her transportation.
We have a budget for some of those things.
That sounds good.
We can put her on the bus stand down
There
here.
you go.
Your cog.
We're so kind.
All right, thank you guys. Well, go ahead.
I've got to say, I talked with Mike Ehrman today, and we'll get to that in a bit. But he mentioned that we tentatively may have a joint work session with City Council on the 26th of February.
Yes.
So that being the case, I want everybody to know, I got a lot of stuff written down, there's a lot of territory to cover.
Yeah.
So while I'm thinking about it, I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring it up. And there's a tentative, well, it's a work session for the city of Trinidad anyway.
Yeah.
And then we'll just be invited in,
Will be
and this will be in City Council chambers, 3 o'clock, the 26th.
I'll be in school.
Okay, but just as an FYI.
That's a
because
Monday.
it's-
Yeah.
That's a work session, yeah, regular work session for the city of Trinidad.
And we may, just so you all know, we'll let you know, but we may start doing those types of joint work sessions in Space to Create, just so there's more room. And I like, in that context where we're all trying to brainstorm, work together, to have less formality and more, roundtable type of discussions. Okay?
Good idea,
Thank you all.
Okay, at the beginning of the meeting, I mentioned, and I didn't get everybody's approval, but I'd like to move because Steve is here and we go through this. I don't know how fast, how soon, but item number 5, the Plum Street lofts. Is it okay with everybody to
Yes.
move that to the next item?
Yes.
Before we go further? That's fine. And I'll move on to that closely. And I see Paul Glenn, you're on with us tonight. Can't hear you, Paul.
Let's see. To go to.
Sure, how's that?
There we go.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah. I saw you there. I just should have mentioned it. Anyway, earlier this week, and I provided everybody with a substantial amount of information regarding this project. It's going to be known as the Plum Street Lofts. And I got the first information on it last week. And there was a meeting that was facilitated, I guess organized and facilitated by Michael Yerman from My Rural Planner. He is a consultant and provides services to the City of Trinidad, and I know mostly a lot to the City of Trinidad Planning Commission. And for that, there was a meeting that was set on the 5th, which was the Monday past, at 1 o'clock. It was a Zoom meeting. That was attended by Mr. Joe Goldman, Mr. Steve Ruger, Paul Glenn, Michael Yerman, myself, and Commissioner Lopez. At that particular time, all the information that had been provided by Mr. Goldhammer and has been provided to everybody here, it was in the agenda. You got it. You got it. It was supplemental to what went out early in the week. Didn't have it prepared that day that we sent out the original. In any case, Joe Goldman and his partner are proposing to purchase the building at 161 Plum Street, which we most all know as the corner of Allen and Plum, where TJ's is located. And their plan is to have a commercial tenant on the lower floor of the building, the ground floor level, and to ultimately construct and renovate the building to include six lofts on the second story. And I think the number 6 comes into mind because all of them are just under 600 square feet. The pro forma that was provided gives a lot of detail based upon what the plans are to go with it. Some of them, as mentioned, were rough in nature at this particular point, but going forward there will be things that are more definite put in place. But the pro forma indicates what the projected revenue figures would be with the ultimate build out and assuming occupancy 100% upper and lower floors. The 161 Plum Street Lofts developers are seeking monetary assistance. They've approached the City of Trinidad, and they've also approached TURA for any possibilities of accommodating and assisting them going forward with either grant and or loans funds going forward, whatever is felt to be appropriate. So, Commissioner Lopez, you were in there as well. Anything you want to add to that?
Sure, thank you, Chairman, and thanks for being with us this evening. The great thought process behind this endeavor with Mr. Goldhammer and his investors or partners. The concerns that were brought up at that meeting was some issues of a funding mechanism at this point in time. And I think that would have to, or allowance of said grants and or loans is kind of the concerning factor for me in this moving forward. However, I do see the importance of possibly assisting in any way we are able to do so under our purview. And I think the Renewal would probably be more encouraged to assist if it falls under our organization's ability to do so. I don't know if you guys seen the lots themselves, but as Chairman Rego said, they're under 600 square feet. One, I think, go over 600 by a few feet. And moving forward, the location is a building that's been there for a long time, and I think it'd be centrally located for studio type apartments or one bedroom type units for single occupancy or double occupancy units, which would be necessary in the downtown area for exactly what Mr. Ruger was talking about earlier this evening, of transportation needs and our new generation coming up, they're not requiring vehicles and would prefer not to be owning it this time for whatever reason maybe. So I do see a really good value for these type of apartments in that neighborhood and in the downtown area. Just moving forward, it would be up to seeking what assistance we can. Again, like I stated, under our purview of our Trinidad Renewal Authority and under state statute, but I really like the endeavor and I'd like to see this come to fruition if we can possibly help. But even if not, I offered a couple of other organizations to them for possible funding availability, and hopefully they reach out to those resources.
I provided all that information. Hopefully, everybody's had that opportunity to review it. So if there's anything that we can't, and this is, I don't want to stress it, but I would say these are the initial stages, and this is here to make a determination whether we want to look forward, look if there's any ways to do it. If that is deemed a possibility, or there's consensus that there's interest to it, not a formal vote or anything else, the next step would be to probably contact Paul Benedetti and or Ayers and Associates to determine where we're at. There's probably going to need more analytics on what the financial part of this is going forward. One of those things that, not my familiarity with doing it in the past, is we're going to have to be, beyond the pro forma. There's going to have to be some analytical work done to this to see how it's going to project out into the future. That being said, those numbers, whether it be by development agreement or whatever else it is, the cost to have the consultation to us should be borne by the developer. Okay, I'm bringing that ahead of time so that everybody knows if we're going to, if the consensus is that we're going to take this forward, there are going to be costs incurred by TURA from all angles. So one of the things that I'm suggesting and we'll talk about as we go forward, anything that we go, whatever the next step is, if there's going to be a financial outlay, that's going to have to be borne by the developer and not by TURA. We got to sort of know that. So, Commissioner Howard.
We need this kind of housing. This is in our service area. I'm with Commissioner Lopez with regards to a support of the project. I don't see our ability to do anything financially at this point in time. So I would like to be following this project, but I don't see us leading this project right now. I'd want to see what TIF may be available from that, since that's really our funding, how we're going to be funded. We're not stout enough in our own account to actually be a bank. I would like to see maybe some of the other tools in the toolkit from TURA that maybe are outside of us and helping somebody get a grant outside of us, and us being a leader with regards to helping be an advocate for the project, and maybe even try and rally collaborative forces out there that have the funds. But and again, love the project, but I'm not looking at this seeing that, because this to our budget, this is a big deal. This it looks to me, Chairman, that they're asking us pretty much for either a $100,000 grant or a $100,000 loan. We get paid back from TIF, so that would be how we look at this. The bottom, the $2,500 on the ground floor, I don't know if that is going to bring the tax revenue in that would actually support any kind of loan or grant from us. The numbers the simple math just doesn't pop out at you that it would do that.
Yeah.
So again, for me, it would be provide whatever support we can do them to do that kind of stuff. But somebody would have to provide us a lot more than 2 letters, pro forma, where you're going to do, how's the funding. Same thing we almost make the folks with facade grants do to get 15 grand. So that's kind of where I am on this, and so applaud their desire to do this, want them to do it, but I want to maybe see a little bit more.
Commissioner Lopez, would you like to expand any more?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Hecht?
Some months ago, I think it was Commissioner Howlett that brought it up. And in reading the proposal and the information that was presented, it harkened back to what is it that we can do? I still don't have a real good grasp on things that we are allowed to do. In all the material that I've read, it doesn't really, tell me what we can do. The project sounds really nice and it's definitely needed, and I think if the funding is there, it can work. I just don't know what we are allowed to do, what the scope of our authority is in a project like this. So, I mean, that was, when I read it, that was the first thing I thought, what is it we really can do? I mean, as you said, we're not a bank. We don't have the kind of funds that, they're looking for readily available. I guess we could do something, but that would leave us short probably. So, I mean, that's my whole thing. I've yet to understand what our defined scope is, our overall authority to do different things, and that's that's what I came away with.
Mr. Baker?
I feel exactly the same way, to be honest with you. I was looking it over and I said, this is really great. I'm just not sure how we fit into this at this point. Pat, Commissioner Howlett, I agree with what you just said, because it's a great idea, it's a great concept. How do we plug in? How do we do what the facade thing? We have funds available. Where do we fit in with all this? And it's a great idea, but I think I feel the same way as the other gentleman here, and I'd like to see more. I want to see, we want to help, but I'm just not sure. We're not a bank. We're not, and I just want to make sure that we see a little bit more and see how we can do that. So,
One of the things the chair said, though, and this may be a good thing, we budgeted for consultation outside of our capabilities and our knowledge. We have it in the budget. So I would think that maybe one of those things is we could go to Ayers and Associates with just that question. What are, not specific to this project, because keep in mind, if you do this project, it opens up a whole bunch of other things. Right. And how do you say no to anybody else that comes forward? So there's a domino effect to that kind of thing. But I think it behooves us, just from our education perspective, to maybe go to our consultants. Maybe it's our attorney, but maybe it's the Ayers and Associates, and say, what does a board like us, what's in our toolbox? We always talk about what's in our toolbox. Well, the bond market certainly isn't right now yet. And there's a lot of things that aren't just because of the financial situation of the world. Mm-hmm. But what is in there? Because maybe there's something in that box if we reach down deep that's there. And it'll answer all of our questions to what really are our capabilities. This, to me, for nothing else, is to go down the path with this applicant on what can we do. We may get to we can't do anything with you, but we'll be smarter for it of what we can do maybe in the future. So maybe we do, as Joe said, there's one of those options as we bring in the consultants that we budgeted for.
So it's back to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, one of the things that, going from here, if it's a consensus that we want to do something exploratory, whether it's specific here, maybe so it has to be there. Take it to either Paul Benedetti and or Ayers and Associates for some consultation, because the things that I'm looking at is my observation of the pro forma. I've been in business a lot of years, and if you're a property owner and you know what your returns are, you know, you have to look at it from all angles. And I did, as an FYI to everybody, I did speak with Joe Goldhammer today. Asked him, if, as far as our discussions tonight, is there's anything that we wanted to keep, in a proprietary basis as far as what's being provided. And he said wants full transparency, so whatever we decide, we need to talk about, we do. But we don't need to delve into it, into all this information because, some consultation for the analytics to go further. The other thing that I'm not concerned about, but at this point, we've got somewhat of a short period to work on this because there's an anticipated closing on the property's under contract. It's set for closing, anticipated closing in April. So that puts us needing to work quite rapidly in order to see where we're going to go. Well, we don't have a meeting until now March again, so trying to put things in place to be able to, whatever our possibilities are, right now it's going to be exploratory, but we've got some time concerns as well as the future property owner developer. And so it's one of those things where, if we do it, are we going to be able to meet the deadlines and timeframes to be able to make it work with them, whichever way, if we do it in a positive fashion. So that's the next thing is, I got to get some responses from our consultant and or attorney to determine where we can go, what we can do. And so that becomes a time concern. But, if it's a consensus, it's not a vote, but a consensus that we want to explore something, I can make those contacts. But, it's a, there are time constraints, we have to know that. And, and I will, as of tomorrow, I will tell whatever comes out of it tonight, because Joe Goldhammer did request, keep them apprised, and I will do that as a courtesy to them. Paul, you're on. Are you representing or you're just looking in tonight?
I'm just looking in tonight. I thought I'd be here if you had any questions. Joe is the one obviously that discussed the the capital stack and the financial end of it. I'm basically here just to if you had any questions. Architecturally, the building.
I don't. Is everybody here familiar with that building as far as so? Yeah, it's a cool location. And so so
we love that fired up that part of it.
Yeah. So that's a cool location. So and so like I say, you were there, and so you attended. Have I given a pretty good representation of what was discussed and what was presented that day?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, historically, the building is in the Corazon district, so we are definitely going to explore our options with the state relative to funding on a whole number of levels that way. It is a building in the district, and part of the architectural focus would be to bring the building back historically as close as we can to its original context.
So Chair, if I may just make a couple comments. So I really like Commissioner Howlett's comment about precedent. I think that's something that needs to be kind of to the fore. What I would recommend is if you all do want to pursue, talking to a consultant about this project, talk about this project, but let's keep the conversation kind of general for other similar projects. And then what I would recommend is that we work together to craft out, some very clear, like if you look on our website under economic development, we have very clear strategies on what we can do to support economic development. Obviously, there's going to be some curveballs. There'll be some amazing opportunities where you might want to go off script, but I'd love to see for you all to have something similar. It's like, here's what TURA can do for you. And I think to avoid that precedent issue that we're not picking favorites, but then also giving you guys kind of a framework on what you can work on and what types of projects are appropriate to come before you.
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to clarify a comment I made. If we do certain things with any developer, we're going to expect that developer to refund those dollars. We're going to need to recoup those dollars. So since I don't want to really go like in with this project, that's why I'm saying we take it from the educational perspective. What can we do that it doesn't, that we're not, the developer isn't beholden to us for us learning what we can and we can't do. And if we spend those dollars there, we're just a richer, more knowledgeable board, irrespective of where they're going. So I guess what I'm saying, I'm as a community person, I'm 100% hopeful that their project moves forward. As a member of TURA, I think I would like to keep more of an arm's length from that until we figure out what we're able to do. And I could actually support us spending money to find out what that is, but not spending money specific to this project. Because I don't want to, at this point in time, I don't want to link our horses to that cart.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Is that a good takeaway?
I agree.
I concur. Yeah, that's good.
Any other questions? Any comments? All right, we'll close that matter and I'll take it to the next step.
Okay, and I do need to jet, I apologize, but,
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry and
no, don't be sorry. Thank you guys for the invite.
Enjoyed it?
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you,
Thank you
Paul.
very much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Yes.
Look forward.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will, item number 5 is considered done for today. And obviously, city manager, a lot of informative information that really is nice to have after reading that article that was in the newspaper. So then we're gonna move on. Item number two, the official item number 2 on here, the Hughes Property Lumber update, Commissioner Bailey.
Thank you very much. Looking at, there wasn't really any great news, as you can tell, but I did reach out to Carl, and he gave me an update of that very thing, not a lot of report. But they have been doing some drawings, and it was submitted through Ed here. He sent that out to everybody, and I got you a hard copy, so you have that. And just a little outline as far as, you know, there's no real news to report due to the weather primarily. I mean, it was just really cold, and they just didn't do anything. They are going to concentrate their efforts on the exterior of the building as opposed to anything on the interior. They're still kind of kicking things around and seeing what they want to do exactly, and that's all good. The status of the building, like I said, it's number 2 is just on hold. They're discussing things, and you'll have the hard copy. The difference on what was sent to us and what I have on the hard copy, there's a front and back to that. So if you do print it up, you'll see that, okay? But you can see what they have proposed there, and I presented that to you guys there, as well as what's on the internet that was sent to us. Coming up, they have plans for more things as the weather gets warmer, and of course, everybody does. I think we all do, so they do too. And so my February assessment, the work is underway slowly due to the weather and the season. Developing the plans for the interiors is currently being discussed, and the progress is slow for this work session for us, and understandably so. I mean, in all fairness, Carl's been great to work with, and I appreciated him providing this for us. So, with that, that's my report on the Hughes lumber. So, thank you. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Used lumber, but it's a silly question, but it's the Theo L. Davis Lumber Company.
That too is in there.
So is that actually taking
There's
it
an
back to?
evolution in time.
Please share that with me.
At one time, it was known as the O.L. Davis Lumber Company.
Okay.
And it became, I think, subsequent to that, the Hughes Lumber Company. But for the longest time, it was a lumber yard, or what we call today a building supply center.
Yeah.
It was a lumber yard, and in the empty lot that's next door to it, demoed a few years ago, but there were actually these open-sided buildings with the roof where they used to store all the lumber and stuff like that. So I think going back in history, O.L. Davis would have preceded the Hughes lumber name on there.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Yeah, and if you see.
And I like that they do that detail, in all fairness, and they do that in a lot of their projects. They do that in a lot of their projects, where they'll dig deep into things and try and find something else. So that was just
One other
curious
thing,
question.
I probably should have said, one of the things that came up last meeting was to try to set something up with, I wouldn't say a ribbon cutting thing or anything like that, but just to have maybe some positive press and anybody that would like to go see the building. I did not talk to Carl about that this time, just because of the cold weather. And just when the weather gets a little nicer, I thought that would be a good time to do that. And then I'll approach him and see it and set it up with him. And maybe we could do a little something like that, maybe have the newspapers over there too.
Jerry, if I may.
Yes.
Yeah, I brought that up the last time, and subsequent to that, Commissioner Howlett and I had a meeting a few weeks ago, and he suggested, I thought it was a great idea, that we do some before and after pictures.
we're on the agenda too for that.
So, you know, I wanna,
Go in and take some pictures.
yeah, before they, and the reason why, yeah, I know we're on the agenda, but I wanna make sure that we can get the before pictures before they start doing a lot of work on it. So.
I'll keep that
If you can
apprised.
keep me posted on that, I'll just, if it's okay with them, I'll go and
Take some
take
pictures.
some pictures.
Yeah, and I'll bring that, I did not bring that up to Carl just because I could tell that with the weather and stuff like that, he was saying that there was just not a whole lot going on from the last time I was there. So they have some plans to go forward, but I will bring that to his attention, what you just said.
Yeah.
So.
Mr. Lopez.
Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate the input and the information tonight, and look forward to seeing this project come to fruition. I really like the fact that there's a apartment on the upper floor for more housing in our community. So I think that would just add to that neighborhood if this other project was to go into fruition.
Actually, yesterday I had a conversation with Tim Lamb, who is the general counsel for Kip Hammond. And he mentioned that actually Paul Glenn, that was just online, is the architect
Oh,
for this project.
That's right.
One of the things that has sort of held things a little bit is History Colorado is involved. And so before they can do the windows, they have to have approval by by plans and information from the project for History Colorado to approve that. They have to have approval for the type of chemical that was used to remove the graffiti. So there are some time delays that go as a result of trying to get it to where that was. So that, as an FYI, because he brought that up yesterday, because that Hughes building was right there for us to see. So he said, yeah, it's progressing, but maybe not as quickly, only because they want to be able to stay within the compliance of History Colorado for what it is they're trying to do.
And if you notice too, everything is happening on Plum Street for some reason or another. You know, we have the Plum Street apartments and then we have, I don't know, Grego Insurance on the corner of Plum. No,
It's not doing anything. I'm too old to take on that kind of stress.
just a little humor there. I was noticing.
Not gonna happen.
A lot of Plum Street things going on, which is great.
Sure, or Mr. Bagley, do you guys know if any requirements for a grounds assessment on that property was needed?
It was done.
Okay.
They did
Asbestos abatements.
there was an extensive study done that was provided to them in, the study happened in 2019, went through all the due diligence. A copy of that was provided to the buyers of the building, so, yeah, there was a brownfield assessment on it.
The reason I ask is we've been doing a lot of that with our fairgrounds and stuff, so
I hadn't heard. So
every time we hit a window, it's got asbestos in it. Every time we do something else, we have to do an abatement project.
And I didn't follow up on any of that, but we are for the college, we're doing those, we are having some asbestos testing right now on 3 different properties. Right?
Now, that was part of the due diligence of when we were selling it from the city, had already had that done. So part of the information that was provided to them when they bought the building was that a document about that thick.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it was provided to them well in advance, so they knew what they were buying and going to.
So they don't have any hiccups.
No, not as far as that.
Okay.
Okay, moving on, the facade improvement program, incentive program. This has been in existence for a few years, and it's had some rewrites and amendments to it, time going on. I think we suspended it temporarily during the year 2023 because we saw some drops, some substantial drops in TIF money coming in, which was the funding source that we were using. We made indication in preparation of the budget for 2024 that we would like to reinstate the program and try to prompt property owners to take on some, pretty up that facade and go forward with it. So it is in the budget for 2024 for an aggregate amount of $30,000. One of the things that I mentioned in the past and provided information to commissioners in the agenda was there was a copy of my email to Mike Scholl of Ayers and Associates, who helped us devise and write the program to begin with. And one of the things that he did mention in there, he says he doesn't feel that it's a good idea. He said, what's our risk tolerance to have something not occur, and where do we go with losses? It's his, and if you'll read his email, pretty much in there says he would not recommend incremental payments. So, we discussed it a couple of months ago when I was last here, and one of the suggestions or consideration is to remove the language in there that says, it's item number 13 under basic requirements. We basically fund it when the project is complete rather than incremental projects at stages, just to make sure that it, if it fails at halfway, are we out whatever amount of funds that we do. It's one of those where, if it happens, we basically are, or once we approve it, we're promising to pay when that project gets done. So, that's one of the things that is for consideration, is we mention it, and that's where it's at. Where does TURA want to go with that? And I will.
I like this word here, wrestle, because I'm doing the same thing with this, okay? His examples aren't on point when I'm reading his letters with regards to people actually doing really bad things. We're going to try and do the cheapest way. We're going to try and keep the money. We're not going to do what you want to do. I don't look at those as the examples that I want to think about here. In my head, and I can go either way here, but in my head, I look at when you come into town, into our service area, and I look at Skateland, and I look at that being right across from the Fox West Theater, and I look at the ownership at Skateland, and they've not come to us at all. No, they've never applied for anything. So I'm just using them as
a candidate.
As a candidate, exactly, because they could use a facade grant there. They could use something there. And I see those businesses there that, quite frankly, are heart businesses in our area, that one specifically serving kids, as being something that I would say incremental, good. I think you're long-term here, you've been here for a long time. I don't see you doing any of these examples of being shady or taking the money and not doing any of that kind of thing. And so that's always been my thing because I brought up this, I like the incremental things to certain folks. At the same time, do you pick and choose winners? Is it for somebody else that we didn't know and they come here? Do we now suspect them of maybe not fulfilling it? So I'm kind of torn with those things. I lean more towards that example I'm using as saying I really would like to have something for that. I don't know, Chair, if we can do things on a case-by-case basis. And I guess that's where I ran to, in my to try and resolve this conflict I'm having. Because in a couple of years from now, when a couple of things happen, I'd be all for, no, you got to do the work, pay for it. We're still in that rebuilding stage of some people that have buildings and et cetera. So that's my conflict right now. If there were a way to do something on a case-by-case basis, and somebody had to do things, is there a way for us to work with the bank on those kinds of things and have them be the risk? At risk, and Chair, you're in the risk business. So I want to kind of yield to you, but those are my things. I could kind of go either way on this. I just think there are certain times where the ability for somebody to get some funds to get going might be beneficial, and without that, they're not going anywhere. Thank you.
My opinion is you've got to be careful what you ask for, because you can't have it both ways. And I'm always a very proponent of following your attorney's advice, and or in this case, your advisory folks that are involved in this. And if you don't like your attorney or your advice being given, well, I relinquish that authority and get another attorney for a different opinion, or consultant in this matter. They're there for a reason, and we've selected them for a reason. I have a difficult time going against people that do this day in, day out for a living and consult to other URAs throughout the state of Colorado. I'm sure we're not their only client. So I would recommend we follow the recommendation of just leaving it as the not incremental payments at this point in time. Moving forward to see what the projects have. As a private business owner of those buildings in the community, I've owned over the years different ones. I've never had an opportunity to come to an organization to say, hey, give me some money. I really think it's on the owner of the business, the property owner, to secure the funding prior. And then if there is some sort of return on investment, that would be great to see that come to fruition if they follow the process. But I think it really relies and depends on the owner of the property to have the investment covered before we allow public funds to incur in that, because then we're not good stewards of the public money we're allowed and overseeing at that point in time. That's the only difficult. I do like the facade program and want to see that come to fruition. I think we just have a bigger responsibility to the taxpayers that entrusted this money to us. We have a fiscal responsibility to them. And I would recommend we follow the recommendations by our consultant this time.
Mr. Hackman.
You know, I concur with Commissioner Howland on some points and Commissioner Lopez on other points. My first feeling when I read through the material was we have a fiduciary responsibility to steward the money that the city has entrusted us with. And I'm afraid to give businesses money up front, not because I think they're going to do anything dastardly, but because in tough times, sometimes things don't work out. I don't want us to be holding the bag, us being the city. However, and Commissioner Howland mentioned, you know, the bank taking the risk, but us guaranteeing on completion of the project that we would, you know, give the funding that was requested and agreed upon. I mean, that would be more in line with what I think, because then the bank knows, most of these projects are funded by bank. The bank would then know that we are guaranteeing it, providing that the business follows through what they're supposed to do. That was, when I read this, that was my main thought. If the business, you know, falls on its face, we are holding the bag for $15,000 or whatever the incremental amount that we gave them. So that's how I feel about it. So I would recommend that we follow what the advisors and attorneys, you know, have said, but we do offer the ability to guarantee it with the bank if that's something that can be done, and if that would help the business. So that's my feeling.
I personally feel that, you know, from what I see, is that when we start looking at what we've done, we had this and we froze it, or we put it on the back burner as far as doing our facades. And now we're kind of merging back into it. And I think the advice that we saw, you know, from Mr. Scholl, that, you know, he was giving us some direction, which allows us to dip our toe back in the water with some direction, and then also giving us, you know, a direction forward as we start to, because once we set the precedent, like we're saying, that seems to be the word tonight. once we set the precedent, now that we're doing this, it's gonna be what we initially do. And so I think we gotta kind of ease into it just a little bit and get more advice and everything else. But I think we wanna do this, we wanna help the community, we have the funding, it's in our toolbox, using that terminology. And I think we really do see an important piece to the puzzle for downtown. Like Steve said, even some of the people that have moved out have done great jobs on the buildings. Well, a facade would really help a lot of businesses, you mentioned Skateland, you know, different things like that are really gonna help if but we don't wanna be so rigid that we're up here like this. We don't wanna be so welcoming that we absorb bad things. So this first time, going forward, you know, I hate to be so wordy, but I think it goes back to, we're asking for advice as we get into this a little bit more, because this is in our, I mean, when I first came in, just, you know, we were dealing with people coming forward and they asking for some money. And they wanted to fix up their place. And I'm going, wow, that's really great. But then all of a sudden we say, well, there's ways that we have to do, I think that's what we're deterring. That's what I'm trying to say. We're setting a precedent to do this, and I think Mike had a great idea, just to, you know, hey, let's look at this a little bit, and that's what I got out of it, what he was saying. And so that's what I'm saying, I'd like to hear if we can just talk a little bit more with him. He's gonna give us some more advice, and then we'll have a good standard. I don't know if I'm making any sense here, but I just wanna make sure that we go forward and have a good precedent.
I need to get clarification from you though, because what we're looking at, the question here is, then it'll come to me and I'll give you my comments. But we're talking here, okay, are we going to remove the incremental funding, or are we going to say at completion of project? That's the question before us now. So, and Mike Scholl, his suggestion is do it upon completion of the project, just to make sure that none of those, in case of failure or stagnancy going through, that we're not sitting on funds out there that couldn't take a project.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so.
That's the long version, the short version of what I just said.
One question. Wasn't it that way prior 4 years ago, and then this board changed it
It was,
to possibly facilitate incremental, but it was always at the end?
yes, we tried to get more interest in the program.
And that's why, okay.
And it didn't fit, you know, it didn't do that. And so now you've got it there, but you've got this risk factor that says, okay, we're going to try to encourage, but you have to, you know, you encourage it. Go ahead.
Well, Chair, can I ask Commissioner Bagley a question?
Yes.
Because your expertise is building and you deal with contractors and so on. What's the mechanism for something like this? Do they have to, I mean, are they paying incrementally, or are they paying at the completion of the job?
It depends on the scope of the project. I mean, I always like to try to get something down because it shows good faith on part of the customer too. And, you know, I've been left to hold the bag a couple of times, and it's not fun. You know, do all the work, and at the end it's like, oh, I can't pay you, sorry. You know, we don't want that. So, but as far as, I think it would be prudent to just to take the advice of our, you know, as far as of our council at this point, just as we're doing it.
No, and sure, question?
Sure.
We only have about $30,000 in that budget, correct?
Yes.
So that's about 2 facades.
No, it could be 3 facades.
Okay, that's,
It could be 3 if it hits maximum.
there you go.
If it's a project, basically, if it's a $40,000 project and they go for our maximum, it's $10,000. But if it's smaller projects, which included the West Main Street of Kip Hamden, the SCRT building, those were well under that amount. So you could actually have well more than 3 projects if they don't.
Okay, so we're at $30,000, about maybe 3 or 4 projects, right? So is it possible for us to have our cake and eat it too with this? Is to make this, and again, that's what I kind of proposed earlier on, that Commissioner Heck, is that we make this no incremental. We remove our risk. but we allow somebody when we approve the grant, and if they follow the stipulations that we lay out on that, so again, we're motivating them to do it, is that there's something they may be able to take to their bank as a private person to go get their loan, et cetera, to say, if you do these things, this is the money's there. So at least they have, even some of our folks that are business owners that don't have the capability,
Right.
we've at least armed them with something that makes them capable of doing. Because what I see otherwise is, we just have kept Hampton, love the guys, but you have mostly folks being able to do this in town that already have the funds to be able to do it.
Right.
Not some of our legacy owners of buildings that may not be able to have the same wherewithal. They're just lucky to have kept the building.
Well,
So is that possible, Chair? That's, I guess, my question.
Well, yeah, it is, because if they come in and we give approval for X amount of dollars, okay, we've basically committed ourselves here to giving them that money, to allowing them that money when their project is complete. That should be sufficient enough for a lender to say, okay.
It's part of their funding stack, as we
We're going to
use,
fund it,
right?
so it's there, without us going through, this documentation, but it's documented, once we approve it here, the assumption, not the assumption, is they're gonna do the project, they're gonna present us with all the documentation, we will present them, they'll give us their, we'll 1099 them, get their EIN and whatever else, and we'll pay it. That's the way it's done, on those successful projects in the past, that's the way it's worked.
So I would probably get out of my wrestling mode, and say, it seems like we could get rid of that language. You have to complete the project, but still empower somebody with the ideas. Take this to your bank as an independent business owner, property owner, forward, and that kind of streamlines a little bit. We're almost making an opportunity for them to use us in their financial stack, their funding package, without the other. We'll just add one other thing. In my business experience in technology and other things, we don't always listen to our counsel. Many times they're set to put barriers on to not do things, but if you actually always listen to counsel on some things, you won't do anything. And so, I love that, Commissioner, I love that sometimes there's contrary things on a board of folks doing that, because I think you come to good balance there, but I'm probably always gonna poke the bear a little bit more than my colleague
That's why I
would.
say, if you don't like your legal advice, you get rid of them and get a new attorney.
Well, that's almost like shopping for an answer, and I don't wanna do that either, but yes.
And I'd like to just go back to from a contractor's point of view, it doesn't really fit in this setting. In other words, I may do the work for a customer, but their funding might be totally different, which would include ours. So I mean, as a contractor, I would do this.
I think they're two different spectrums.
Yeah, two different spectrums. So, and
Oh,
for me to
that's a
speak
good
to
conversation.
that, it would be a different situation. I would be coming from a different perspective with the facade owner. I'd be doing the work, but how they get their funding, it doesn't matter. So that, I guess that's fair to say.
Excellent.
All right, there's one other thing that was on there that we need to talk about, because it did create a little situation in the past. And under eligible expenses, number 5, possibly remove the word typically. TURA typically does not reimburse on costs associated with signage, landscaping, or other features. I say, my recommendation is take out typically and say TURA does not.
See, I used that word, remember when that came up, I used that word, it said, why, if it's there, and you typically do it, then why are we saying no to it? I also say, it should be removed.
Yeah, ambiguity needs to go.
It needs to go,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay.
That to me.
Okay, so then.
I agree with that.
So there's something else that I just thought of, and I should have had it on there, but we need to have a time certain on these projects.
Right.
Okay, we need to say from the time that it's funded, we need to have it done in a certain amount of time. 1, to get the project done, and number 2, it is somewhat of a bookkeeping nightmare when you have to create the next year's budget and you've got holdovers and carryovers. And so it's one that we have to set a time so that we know how we're going to allocate that money going into the next budget cycle. And I'm saying that from experience. So we need to say, from the time that we approve it, you've got time certain to get that project done, or it's not.
You bet. I think you also have that other thing. I have a business and I'm doing a facade grant, and the 2 folks next to me I'm interfering with their business if it just thing could go on forever.
Yeah.
And so that time certain actually means I'm not infringing upon or having a problem to my neighbor on Main Street to the left and right.
So,
Yeah, so-
my question to that would follow Mr. Bailey. Depending on the size of the building, would that typically give a scope of work and a time frame to the contractor? And how would we handle that through our office?
I think there should be a time, something should be set. Because if we don't, as far as, in the size, we would have to discuss it. I don't know if it'd be case by case, I hate to use that word.
And can we do that case by case, depending on the project size?
I mean,
And will I do the presentation during the application process?
I'll get back to you, Patrick.
So my question again, this is where we're utilizing you.
Yes.
Again, many cases, we can do 3 to 4. Most of the time, it's gonna be $15,000.
Right.
So $15,000 spread over a 6,000 square foot building or a 2,000 square foot building still only does $15,000 of work unless they wanna do other things.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
So some of this thing may be self-policed by just the amount of money we're able to provide you. Am I off track there?
No, you just said something, it says unless they want to do other things.
Okay.
That's what gets me as
There
a
you go.
contractor.
Thank you.
People will say, they'll say, we want to do this, and they come here and they say that. Then they say, while we're at it.
Change orders.
And I'm the type of guy who, oh yeah, we could probably do something, and then next thing you know, the time's just getting away from
We
it.
can control that.
We can control.
When they come through,
Yes.
when that application comes, we review it and say, yes, we're gonna do it. That applicant should have all plans in place. And if you're going to use a contractor, then our 12-month window will have to prompt them to prompt their contractor to begin it and do it within that time frame,
Right.
unless there's these total extenuating circumstances that would do it. But what we need to do is we need to handle it, get it done, it gets done, we pay it, it's a done deal. We get to look at it, put a sign in the window, and that's it. So that's my suggestion, is because the longer it goes, we are handling it beyond what we have to be handling it for. So the suggestion, is, put a 12-month from approval of funds from us,
To completion.
a 12-month completion time. That way, they don't say, okay, I'll start it in 60 days. When you come through the door, when you submit your application, you should have a plan in place.
Shovel ready?
Yeah.
Paintbrush ready?
Yeah, have it ready to go.
I agree.
Okay, so my takeaway from this is, and we're going to take away that, is the upfront, or the incremental payments. We're going to take out the word typically, and then add in 12-month window for completion from the date from approval.
And 12 months is fair, more than fair. If people they come in here and they say that, it should be more than fair. And like I said, a lot of times people will come in, like I said, just before, they'll draw it out because of, oh, I want to do this.
Again, this is a facade, you're not building a building. I
Right.
think we're being very, very
We just got to keep
reasonable.
that scope.
Yeah.
So, Chair, just point of order, does this now move from work session to be on next week's agenda? So we can
It'll be
actually
on
make
next month's
those-
agenda
Next
for
month's
approval
agenda.
of a revision to this,
Very
and
good.
then we will take applications.
Great.
Any other thing that we want to change on there? That's the only thing I see.
I think that cleans up a bunch.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I just don't want ambiguity that puts us in unable to answer at the time
Hard to
that somebody
defend.
comes to the door. We have it, we know what it is, and it's a yes or no, we move on with it.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Okay, so that's item number 3, the facade incentive program. Item number 4, financial report. And last month, the financial report there was a question by Commissioner Leone at the time regarding a number that is contained on every financial report, and it's $2,468 under the project fund. That is a separate fund that we began and will probably maintain in case we go forward, but that is on there. It's a budgeted amount. We began using that account a couple of years ago, or a little more than that. That was how we paid out the money that we were the stewards. Monthly we paid for the Americana Road construction. That's how that was handled. So the amount that it's in there and it's ongoing. If you take that $2,468 and add it to the balance of what we've got there, that's how much we really owe. So, it's there, those are, it's been in at least the last 2 years' budgets, it's in the 2024 budget as well. So it's just money that we own, that if we undertake another project, or whatever you want to term it, that's where we'll do it, so we don't have to commingle and try to create a bookkeeping nightmare in the general fund.
Yes.
Everybody was wondering, she brought it up in there.
Yeah, it's there, you'll see it on every one, and it's on the budget, it's on the annual budget.
We just trust you so much, that's why.
Okay, any more questions on that? No. Item number 5, subject that's been up for a lot, and we need to look at it, because we have budgeted, and not tonight, but I need to encourage everybody, we need to create a job description of what it is that we're looking for. What do we want them to do for us?
I have one, I will send it to you.
Okay. It's for us, it's not in generality, it's how it pertains to us.
It's a part-time position.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I had somebody
Okay.
put one together to run to you. I did not print it out, so
Okay.
if I may send it to you.
If you would, because.
For distribution to
Yeah, we
anybody,
need
so I
to
don't
get it
send
there,
it.
because it has to occur.
I didn't send it to everybody because I don't want to actually cross that bridge of
Right, yeah, no,
sunshine, you know?
No, we'll send it out, but yeah, we need
I do
to
have one, I'll
devise
send it out
one, because,
Chair, can I send it to you in the morning and then you can
send
distribute
it,
it
yeah,
that
then we'll
way?
get it out to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's the way we want to, it needs to go there. I mean, and it's nothing that I've ever denied that we don't need to do. It's just that, by the time we put it together, it has to happen, but, it is becoming quite cumbersome. And for these matters that we've discussed tonight, and you see these things, it's gonna be really helpful to have somebody, the overuse.
Without a doubt, and it's been something I've been kind of pushing in a kind of irritating way sometimes, I understand. And that's why I went ahead and got one put together
It's a necessity.
in that space. So I will get that to you, Chair.
Okay. Anybody else on that? That's cool. Item number 7, public relations, and that's Commissioner Hecht and Commissioner Howlett.
So you want, go ahead and lead, and I'll say some of the stuff we did.
Well, it took a little while, but we finally got together.
Yes, we did, it's great.
We met and discussed how do we toot our own horn? And Commissioner Howlett actually, led most of the discussion with some of the ideas that he had, he used with the chamber. And one thing that people don't know is what we do, other than the little signs on the windows of the facade program. We were trying to figure out ways to present ourselves as a city agency that does good. And one of the things that we came up with was taking pictures of all the accomplishments that we've had. And in regards, and again, we spoke about this before, in regards to the used lumber company doing some before and after pictures and some internal pictures, along with the fact that we wanted to actually take a tour of the project.
Right.
But so those are some of the things that we had discussed in the meeting, along with Commissioner Howard suggesting that we get on the existing websites that are available, because he's much more tech savvy than I am. Creating websites to do these things is a project. So Pat,
The city's not, and it makes sense. So when I say somebody's not doing it, it kind of makes sense for them to take the position that they're taking. So they're not putting a page up for TURA on the city's website, okay? They're certainly not going to provide us access to that. So what we decided to do is the city is a member in great standing with the Chamber of Commerce. And so what we have is we've created a membership for TURA on the Chamber's website. As of before this meeting, this event was on the Chamber's website a day or two after we had met, okay? So this has been up. It actually says what we do. People can send a message to. It has our phone number. It has some of the commissions and boards. So if somebody wanted to actually find out about us from the city's website, we're linking out to them. We're able to put our events on here. We actually would be able to toot our horn a little bit more with regards to a blog post, consider it an article, right? This is what's happening in the used lumber building. Here's some of those kinds of things. So the way we've kind of done this is, we don't have to have our own website. The city and entities within the city can be members of the Chamber of Commerce. The city pays at a membership level that allows that to happen, okay? So this isn't anything we needed to actually get a budget for. It's already paid for us. And so this is kind of what we did. We wanted to kind of put it together so we can do, to the degree now if we have a platform, I don't recommend we do anything on Facebook. It's a kind of a negative place for anything anybody does, and to do good stuff.
It's an assassination.
Give out silver bars and people would just bitch at you because you can go gold on it, you know? But this is something that's we do get traffic. What I'd like to build this out sometimes is a project we have. So let's say we had a project that we were doing. We have commercial properties here that we can put commercial property listings. Let's say we had a place where a small scale manufacturing place could be. We can list it on this site here. So in the property areas, in events, in other kinds of areas, and then just letting people know we're here. So this is kind of what we came out of that. It was kind of a little high-tech, low-touch solution fit within our budget, free, and allows that. So right now, it's easy for me to administer this. So if anybody the chair wanted anything put on the site, I would do that. In time, if we have that executive director, what we would do is we would provide them with the access, and it would be a tool for them to use to let the community know things. What's going on with us? When do we meet? What's our mission? What properties, maybe commercial properties we have that are available for somebody to come in. It allows us to work more with commercial realtors on what's there, because they, if they're a member, can do the same kinds of things. So that's kind of what we came up with, and then Commissioner Heck came up with something that he alluded to earlier, with opportunities to go in there and almost do before afters. Hey, this is what this thing was before. Snap, 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 snap pictures. This is what it is after. That's your TURA at work. So that's basically what we came up with, something that didn't require a lot of administration, which is, we're all kind of, that we can't do anything. We shouldn't do anything that requires us to do maintenance that we can't afford, right? And we shouldn't do anything that requires administration that we don't have the personnel for. And so that's kind of how we crafted this. If everybody's okay with this, we'll leave it up and move forward. If everybody's not, it's easy to move down.
Can we find it on?
Yep, right on the chamber website.
I have one suggestion, just looking from a distance. It does have to say Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority.
Okay, great. So what I'll do when I'm sending that other thing, I'll send the direct link to this, okay? So that you have that. Anything you see on there that's like, this is the compliance thing. You need to do those kind of things. Let me know what those are. Well, I'll do it the same. I'll do it short, an hour, 15 minutes after getting that email. And then again, it just gives us a presence to actually a platform to actually grow from.
So, great idea, guys. I like the idea. My question is, being the Boy Scout that I've always am, do we need, or should we have this an action item to make a formal board decision to join the chamber website, to be on there on a regular basis? And this is the why behind it. What happens in the year or 2 or 3 from now, and you're no longer at that organization, or you move away, or God forbid anything happens to you, Pat? How do we move forward as an organization working with the chamber in the future without having some sort of documentation or some sort of verbiage in our minutes that we approve doing so?
Again, if the city doesn't pay its membership fee,
Or if
then
that happens, then
that would go down regardless of where Pat is. So
Right.
with all members that are members of the chamber, you pay your dues, you get the benefits.
Mm-hmm.
If the city doesn't do that, then it was better. But that said, but that said, I still think these things need to go to a real, from work session, which is kind of where I still think this is,
Right.
to our thing, and then approval based on where we are and have it in there.
And one last follow-up question on that. Do we need city approval to do that, being an entity of the city?
I ran it by loosely by the city manager. So, and as busy as he is, and it didn't go formal with somebody, he liked the idea because he knew that they couldn't provide us with a solution. And his experience in this space says we probably should have some kind of platform out there.
We have the autonomy, we can do that. Okay.
Okay, so, so I think we're good there, but I still believe what Commissioner Lopez is doing, that we just need to go here and codify it and approve it. Okay, this was just our thing to come back to you, kind of.
I like it.
As with the pictures that I met with the chair recently, and we talked about approval of the board for doing, the before and after pictures and the pictures of the places that we've already funded. So I think the board has to approve that if we're gonna do it.
So we're moving forward on that.
Okay,
little project.
okay, so that we will, you'll send us a prototype, a link for the prototype.
I'll send you a link
So
to
we can look at it, and then we can bring it on here, and next month, it'll be on there, say, yeah, looks cool, let's do it, and that way, again, when any successors, if there's somebody say, well, I don't know anything about it, somebody will know about it. There will be a way.
Be on the record.
Yeah,
Yes,
there's
sir.
gonna be some memorialization to it.
Yes, sir.
Is it good?
Good.
Okay. A question I had, in the most recent edition of the World Journal?
World Journal?
Journal, they listed that we were having a meeting yesterday at 5 o'clock.
Interesting.
Oh, I wasn't there.
So
Whoever showed up had a good
yeah,
meeting.
I didn't ask them where it is, I just didn't know if anybody had
Is
contacted.
that today's edition?
It was Friday's edition.
Oh, that's Trinidad, the World Journal will come out today.
The Walsenburg, it comes out every Friday. I've got it here.
I get it on Thursdays.
I've got it here, actually.
You didn't pay your subscription, you're a day late.
It's, what are we doing?
Have no idea.
Yeah, it says it has it Wednesday, February the 5th to 7th at 5 p.m.
February 7th.
No, yeah, it was yesterday, Wednesday the 7th. So,
No
they,
idea.
yeah, I didn't know how it got there. I'll ask them because, I don't think it created any harm. It was
Do you
there.
have Gretchen's phone number, the editor?
Yeah, because we pay for, yeah. So I'll check on that. I don't know how it got there, but it was. I actually, that was good Saturday, snowy afternoon meeting.
Which almost fortifies the position for us to have our own
Right.
ability to let
Yes.
folks know that we're the
Yeah.
authoritative source of our stuff.
Yeah. That'll help, Pat, with that.
All right, well, thank you. I appreciate the
Yes,
effort
thank you,
and time
guys.
you guys have put into it, and look forward to, that'll be helpful. It'd be great. Item number 8, board vacancies. We have 2. Unfortunately, Commissioner Leone decided not to return. So she sent in that she wouldn't be seeking reappointment. Graciously, Commissioner Lopez has come back. So we thank you for that.
Yes.
We do need to extend to Commissioner Leone our gratitude for the
Yes.
5 years that she put in.
Yes.
And, we'll get something to be able to make, extend that to her, but she didn't. So that leaves 2 board vacancies now that have to be done. So I believe the city of Trinidad does, every time it announces boards and commission vacancies, we are listed on there. So it is there, so we just, see where that goes. If you know anybody that you would like to prompt them to send in a letter of intent, it will go to the city clerk will take that to the city council. One of the things that I got an email from Desiree Sandoval today at the city clerk's office, and she said that city council would be interested in having 5 to 7 questions from TURA, and any of the board and commission, that they could, when they interview these interested persons, that, we could give them some subject exact of what we would like to have asked, and therefore they can, from there. So and she said she'd like to have it as soon as possible. I can put them together. I can put my own thoughts together, but I need your thoughts. So, it doesn't have to be today, but we know our emails, send what you think you would like to have. And, 4 or 5, if it's 10 questions we end up with, it's fine. It's something that they can use in the vetting process to put somebody on our board.
And this is going to Desiree.
Well, it comes to me.
Yeah.
If you get it to me, then it'll go to Desiree, then they'll get it into, whenever there's an applicant, that'll be part of the vetting process by the city council to appoint someone to the boards.
Chair?
Yes, sir.
The chamber is actually creating good relationships with, we hope, all of our partners out there. And so Audra is now doing a lot of things where she'll send us opportunities for construction jobs or those kinds of things. She emails that directly to the chamber, and then we distribute that as a service to our members to know that. The next, if there's something that becomes official, I don't want to write anything for us, but if there's something that becomes official for that, I would be pleased to send that to our membership, letting them know that TURA is looking for 2 members. This is what you want to do, and see if we can do that. We can use that, our email platform, to let folks know.
I don't think there's any reason that can't go out in a public newsletter like that.
Okay.
Urban Renewal Authority has 2 vacancies.
Well, because we have members, quite frankly, that sometimes want to be involved, but they don't go to the website, or they don't follow that kind of stuff, and if I can put it in their inbox,
Yeah.
we may be able to do that.
Everybody okay with that?
Everybody,
That's not a-
and that's part of that,
Yeah.
we're kind of looking at that as sometimes as part of our public relations, just better outreach to
If
people.
they know it, I mean, ultimately, they want to apply and go through the same process as anybody, but if it gets out there in the broadest way possible, it's to our benefit.
Okay, so if that's, it'll be whatever the official thing is there, we just grab and go, okay?
Yeah. All you have to do is go to the city clerk's office and get a letter, the letter of intent form, fill it out, submit it. It'll ultimately go to city council and
Awesome.
I'll get you some questions tomorrow.
okay,
I programmed you in my calendar.
all right, right here. Huh?
Okay, that's the big space.
Item number 8, annual meeting. Today, this constitutes February, is the annual meeting for Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority as in our bylaws. So we have on the regular meeting tonight, election of officers, election of chairman and vice chairman for the next year.
I thought we did that.
We do that every February.
We tabled it
You've
because
been here.
Ed wasn't here.
No, you didn't know. February is our annual meeting. This is our annual meeting and
You've
this
been
is
here a
our
little
meeting.
while now.
Okay, number 10, letter of support to Mark Trinidad. And this was something that had to happen relatively quickly. I sent it to everybody and you all gave me your consensus that a letter of support for the project, which is going to be located just north of North Avenue. It's going to be a 32 or 34 unit apartment complex. And it's one where it is no financial support from TURA, it's just a request for as many letters of support. I think Chamber sent one as well, Commissioner Hallett?
Chamber did?
Yeah, and it's just a matter of showing support, because they were going
Well-received.
forward for seeking funding from tax
Credits.
whatever, tax credits. So that's what it amounted to, and a copy of the letter, I sent advance notification and queried about who would want to do it, and we did it, so you got a copy of the letter.
And if anybody's interested in what the chamber said, just, I can send that to you.
Yeah.
It was well received.
It was a good letter. Items for future work session discussion. We've covered a gamut tonight.
Yeah.
All right, we do have stuff to take care of in the ensuing months. So if you think of anything, please let me know. If not, I will muddle through it in the 2 weeks before. All right, is there anything else that we have to bring forward in the work session?
Great session.
If not, it is 7:12 p.m. This is the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority regular meeting. Item number 1 is roll call.
Bailey,
Here?
Hess,
Here?
Howard,
Here?
Lopez,
Here.
Grego.
Here. Item number 2, approval of the minutes of the most recent meeting, January 20th, 2024. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Head with the motion to approve. Commissioner Bailey with the second. Are there any further questions or comments? Roll call.
Bailey,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes?
Howard,
Yes?
Lopez,
Yes.
Grego.
Abstain due to absence. Item number 4, consideration of bills, and there are none for the month of January. Item number 5, petitions or communications, oral or written. Is there anybody in the sitting audience or anybody attending via go-to meetings that would like to come before the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority? Second time, is there anyone in the audience that would like to come forward and address the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority? Let the record show that no one has come forward either personally in the audience or on go-to meetings. Item number 5.
Chair, if I said 3.
Back up
We
to
have to
number
go
three.
3. Acceptance of the
Oh,
financial.
why don't you guys slap me around here? Item number 3, and excuse me, I'm sort of.
No, you're good, you're good.
Item number 3, acceptance of the financial reports for January and February 2024. And the reason you're looking at 2 of them is because it was deferred last month. There was that question regarding what that 2468 was. So it was not accepted last month. So if the explanation I provided this evening is adequate and substantial, we have January and February for concurrent approval this evening.
So, point of order, I guess, I would say that. Did we table it last meeting, or,
You did.
so we need to first pull January off the table?
Protocol?
Or should we just do them together? What's the?
We can do them in 2 motions, that's fine. But you do have what I sent in the, you had it in last month's agenda. I sent a copy of it in, this is January, the January information for month end December. So it was in the agenda that was sent.
Right.
At your seating places today, Brittany provided us with the one that was just completed. So you have 2 of them, and we can do them in 2 separate, that's
Well,
fine.
I just wonder if we need to remove it off the table since we tabled it, and then we can move forward with doing both. Trust me, my administrator has scolded me
Okay.
many times
All right.
on those.
Well, there was no action, I mean, it was tabled, I mean, it's being reintroduced tonight.
Okay, so we can just.
Yeah, I kind of think when you put it back on the agenda, you've moved it off the table back
Yeah.
onto the agenda, is how
Yeah,
I.
so do you wanna
see
do
that
it,
done, but-
you know, I've got it in 2, if you wanna do January and then February, that's fine, it's at the.
Well, I'm gonna throw a motion out there, motion to accept the financial reports for January and February 2024.
Okay.
I'll second that. I'm sorry, guys.
No.
Too many years,
No, I like
too many
it.
meetings.
I like how you steer, so that's good.
So the motion is acceptance for the January and February financial reports. Motion by Commissioner Howlett and a second by Commissioner Lopez. Any further questions or comments? Roll call.
Bagley,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes,
Howard,
Yes,
Lopez,
Yes,
Grego.
Yes. All right, moving on, we've already done bills and petitions, so I guess I can truthfully go on to item number 6, old business. There is no old business of record. Item number 7, annual meeting calls for the election of a chairman. Motions or nominations?
I motion to nominate Chairman Ed Grego to retain his seat.
I'll
Second.
second that. Well,
Commissioner Heck.
You're deferring to Commissioner Heck.
Yes, sir.
I guess that's up to me to accept the nomination.
You really have no choice.
Accepted. Any other nominations?
Move to close nominations.
Second.
Nominations are now closed. Comments, questions? Roll call.
Bagley,
Yes.
Heck,
yes,
Howard,
Yes,
Lopez,
Yes,
Grego.
Yes. Item number 7B, election of a vice chairman.
I make a motion to reappoint Commissioner Lopez. The last time we were here, I had some thoughts with regards to that. They've been cleared up just by the actions that I see him taking on a regular basis, and I'd be really pleased if he would accept that.
And I will second that. So,
The nomination by Commissioner Howlett with a second by Commissioner Bailey to nominate Commissioner Lopez as vice chairman of the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Are there any other nominations? Motion to close.
you officially accept.
I would accept.
Thank you.
Motion to close?
Motion to close?
I'll second it again.
Motion by Commissioner Howlett with a second by Commissioner Bagley. Nominations are closed. Roll call?
Bagley,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes,
Howard,
Yes.
Lopez,
Humbly, yes.
Grego.
Let me think about this. Yes. Item number 8, report by the executive director. We have no executive director, but I do work monthly to transact the business. And so the agenda is indicative of what I've done over the last month. And just to let everybody know that the 2024 budget that was submitted to the Department of Local Affairs, local government, was accepted. And so we are official for the year with our budget. So it's in, it was accepted. Other than that, again, my work is, or what I've done is indicated on there. One other thing I'll make mention again is that there is a tentative meeting with the city council at their work session on November the 26th at 3 p.m. And it will be, that the intention, the crux of that meeting is to be able to discuss those things that the city of Trinidad and or TURA can do in a concerted effort and jointly going forward. So, you know,
It's on the computer.
Okay,
I'll be
all
there.
right. Somebody needs a reminder. No, I got a good reminder on a daily basis. Item number 9, reports by commissioners.
None.
There's a lot going on in my world, but that is going to be pertinent to urban renewal. The Board of County Commissioners will be reaching out to the city of Trinidad and asking if they would possibly like to host a work session with the county and invite TURA regarding the Cougar Canyon status at this point in time. If the city is reluctant to hold the work session in city council chambers, the county commissioners will then move ahead and have a work session. But we're offering an olive branch to the city to hold it in their home court, and so they're not feeling on the defensive. So we can see where the city is at moving forward. Now we have a new mayor. Congratulations to your wife. And to a new council member and a new appointee, former council member Ogletree. So as I promised, I would move forward with that. We're now at $16 million plus in lost tax revenue due to the Cougar Canyon issues out there, to see maybe there's a different perspective moving forward. So that will be on the radar, and we'll find out here hopefully soon between our administrators if that can be facilitated soon.
Thank you.
sounds good.
Mr. Heck?
No, sounds good.
Mr. Bailey?
One last thing about the Hughes Lumber Company. What I'd like to do is to address you guys. What we'll do is, what I'll do is between now and the next session to coordinate with either with Tim Lamb or with Carl about having us maybe do a walkthrough and take a look at that. So just so that you know that I'll be kind of.
And ask him if it's okay if we take some pictures.
Oh, I'm sure the answer is yes, but it's just a matter of trying to coordinate everything with everybody and do stuff. But that's the only report I'll be working on that.
And the report again was on the Theo L. Davis Lumber Company?
Yes, that's right. It's all the,
Hey,
the generation you're in.
as an FYI, don't expect much when you get inside.
Yes, it's all cleaned out. They said it was very, very messy in there for a while, and so having it all cleaned up, I'm sure
Yeah,
was,
it's,
looks a lot nicer.
is there anything else to come?
That's all I have. So.
Okay, thank you. Anything else to come forward in Trinidad Urban Renewal? If not,
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Howlett with the motion, Commissioner Bailey with the second, correct?
Great work, guys.
We will consider this meeting if there are no dissenting opinions or votes. Adjourned at 7:23 p.m.